The PB-M5-L7 is an integrated true bypass switcher and MIDI foot controller. It has 7 loops connected in series and has a fixed order. Each loop is bypassed using mechanical relays, ensuring clean and uncolored bypass tone. A buffer just after the input improves the input signal's integrity before sending the signal to the external effects. A muting circuit can be enabled to prevent switch popping inherent to mechanical relays. A trigger output is available below the input jack for controlling amplifiers that support latching foot switches, typically for changing amp channels. The PedalBot has a 5-pin MIDI output for simultaneously controlling MIDI-capable devices. The controller can send up to 6 MIDI program changes on channels 1 to 6 simultaneously. It also has an X jack for connecting an expression pedal, or a dual momentary foot switch for expanding controls. MIDI input is available through a mini TRS jack. An external MIDI controller can be used to remotely emulate a switch press and other functions through MIDI CC messages. A USB mini B port is available for firmware updates, for sending MIDI messages to DAWs, or for using the PC editor. The U version of the switcher includes a USB host output, offering controls for USB MIDI devices like the Zoom Multi-Stomp or Boss GT1. Each of the 5 built-in switches in the PB-M5-L7 are programmable and can have different assignments for each of the available 16 banks. To move to the next bank, press both switches 1 and 2 at the same time. Pressing switches 4 and 5 at the same time will move to the previous bank. Alternately, you can assign any of the switches to change the bank, or use an external dual foot switch. To insert an effect pedal to one of the loops, connect the pedal's input to the bottom jack of a loop in the PedalBot, which is the loop send. Then connect the pedal's output to the top jack of a loop, which is the loop return. You can have more than one pedal per loop. This is useful if you have pedals that you use at the same time, or if you have more than 7 pedals. After connecting all the pedals to the unit, and managing power distribution, make sure to enable all the pedals in the loops, and leave them turned on all the time. The PedalBot itself will decide which pedals will be inside the signal chain, and will remove loops that are not enabled, based on the switch assignments. For MIDI-capable devices like delays and reverbs, it is recommended to have these connected after the PedalBot's output. Bypassing and controlling these devices can be done through MIDI. You can use a standard MIDI 5-pin cable to connect to multi-effect pedals that support MIDI control. In this video, I have a couple of pedals inserted in some of the loops of the PB-M5-L7. In loop 1 is a compressor pedal. In loop 2, I have a low-gain overdrive. And in loop 3 is an preamp distortion. After the PedalBot, the signal goes into the buffer boost pedal, which has a remote switch input. I have connected the trigger out of the PedalBot to the boost pedal switch input to simulate amp channel switching. After the boost pedal, the signal goes into a Zoom Multi-Stomp, which is also plugged into the PedalBot via USB for control. Lastly, the signal goes into the Line 6HX Stomp and is also connected via MIDI for control. In this first example, each of the switches in the current bank are assigned as full preset toggle. In this switch function, each switch is assigned 2 full presets, one for the on state and one for the off state. A full preset is a set combination of active loops, the state of the trigger out, as well as a preset combination of 6 MIDI program change messages. Pressing a switch from an unlit state will recall the on state full preset. Pressing a red lit switch again will recall the off state full preset. In this next example, all the switches are still set as full preset toggle, but with all the channel parameters set to off instead. You can still assign 2 sets of loop and trigger states, but pressing a switch will only change the loop states, and will not send any MIDI program change messages. In this next example, all the switches are set as PC toggle. In this switch function, switches are assigned to send a single, or a preset combination of MIDI program change messages known as PC presets. Pressing a switch will only send MIDI PC messages and will not change the loop and trigger states. Switch 1 to 3 are assigned to send PC presets. Pressing a switch will send 6 program change messages on channels 1 to 6. Switch 4 and 5 are assigned to toggle between 2 program change messages on one channel only. Switch 4 for the zoom on channel 1, and switch 5 for the line 6 on a channel 2. In this next example, all of the switches are assigned as loop toggle. In this switch function, switches are assigned 1 or more loops to enable or disable. Unlike full preset toggle, switches set to loop toggle will persist between each press, and will act upon each other. In this example, I have assigned switch 1 to 3, each, to toggle loops 1 to 3 respectively. Switch 4 is assigned to toggle the trigger out. For switch 5, I have set it to toggle both switch 2 and 3 at the same time. Pressing a switch will not turn off other enabled switches, thus leaving enabled loops turned on as you add other loops to the signal. Pressing a switch assigned to a loop already enabled will invert the state of that loop. If we leave switch 2, which turns on loop 2, enabled, pressing switch 5, which is assigned to toggle both loops 2 and 3 at the same time, will turn on only loop 3, but disable loop 2. At this point, pressing switch 2 will have an inverted result. Take note of this inverting nature when assigning switches with overlapping loop numbers. The following examples show how you can have different switch types available per bank. In this bank, I have set switches 1 to 3 as loop toggle switches. This lets you add in loops 1 at a time. Switches 4 and 5 are set to scroll MIDI PC presets up and down. This setup is useful for rehearsals, where you don't have full presets stored, and would just like to audition sounds. In this example, I have set the bank limit to 2 in the setup menu. In both banks 1 and 2, I have set switch 5 to move to the next bank. And since I have set bank limit to 2, it's easy to circle back to the first bank after a single press. In bank 1, I have switches 1 to 4 set to full preset toggle, with the channel parameter set to 1. Along with the loop and trigger states, the switches will only change the preset on the zoom multi-stomp. In bank 2, I have assigned switches 1 to 4 to send MIDI control change messages to the HX Stomp to control looper functions like play, stop, record and overdub. To edit a switch's configuration, make sure the Edit Enable light is on. This is enabled by default. Press and hold the switch you want to edit until the display shows Edit. The PedalBot will enter Switch Edit menu. The switch being edited will blink red. Each switch has various parameters and will depend on its function assignment. Turn the knob to select the parameter you want to change. Once the parameter is shown, press the knob to show or change the value assigned to the parameter. Turn the knob to select the new value for the selected parameter. To confirm selection and go back to the previous menu, press the knob briefly. To go back to the previous menu without confirming selection, press any of the unlit foot switches. Changing the function parameter will also change the available parameters, depending on the selected switch function. Please consult the user manual for a full list of all switch parameters. For switches set to full preset toggle or loop toggle, the first parameter when entering the switch edit menu will be the loop parameter. To change the loop and the trigger state assigned to the switch, press the knob to enter the loop edit submenu. Turn the knob to select a loop you want to toggle. The corresponding loop light will blink indicating the selection. The display will indicate the current state of the loop. Press the knob briefly to toggle the state of the loop. To confirm the loop settings and continue editing other switch parameters, turn the knob to select the previous option, as shown in the display. Press the knob briefly to go back to the previous menu. To go back to the previous menu without confirming the loop settings, press any of the unlit switches briefly. To save all of the changes to the switch configuration, press and hold the knob or the blinking switch until save is shown on the display. To cancel and go back to normal operation, press and hold any of the unlit switches until cancel is shown in the screen. While in the Switch Edit menu, you can also copy the current settings of the selected switch to another, either in the same or in another bank. To do this, choose a source switch and enter Edit menu by pressing and holding the desired foot switch. Then, turn the knob to the copy option, as shown in the display. Press the knob briefly to show the copy destination submenu. The current bank will be shown on the screen, while the destination switch will blink red. Turn the knob until the desired destination bank is shown in the screen, and the destination switch is blinking. To copy the current settings to the selected destination, press and hold the knob until save is shown in the screen. To go back to normal operation, press and hold any of the unlit foot switches. The PedalBot controllers can store up to 100 combinations of 6 MIDI program change messages, known as PC presets. The 6 MIDI program change messages in a PC presets are sent to MIDI channels 1 to 6. To edit the PC preset combinations, press switch 2 and switch 4 at the same time. The first parameter will be the preset number selection. This will select which PC preset will be edited. Press the knob to enter preset number selection. Then turn the knob to select the desired preset. To confirm selection and continue editing the selected preset, press the knob briefly. This will take you to the previous menu. Then, turning the knob will select one of the 6 MIDI channels available in a PC preset. Once the desired channel is shown, press the knob briefly to show or change the PC number sent to that channel. Once in the submenu, turn the knob to select the new program change number. To confirm the selection and go back to the previous menu, press the knob briefly. To go back without confirmation, press any of the foot switches. To save any changes to the PC preset, press and hold the knob until save is shown in the screen. To cancel any changes and go back to the preset select option, press and hold any of the foot switches. While in the PC preset edit menu, you can also copy the current selected PC preset settings to another. To do this, turn the knob to show the copy option. Then press the knob briefly to select a destination preset number. Turn the knob, and once the destination preset is shown, press and hold the knob until save is shown on the display. To cancel copying and go back to the previous menu, press any of the foot switches briefly. To go back to normal operation, press both switches 2 and 4 at the same time. The PedalBot has a setup menu for configuring global parameters like the Edit Enable, Bank Limit, and the Auxiliary Input function. To enter the setup menu, press switches 1 and 5 at the same time while in normal operation. Alternately, you can hold down switch 1 while the device is booting up. Turn the knob to select the global parameter you want to change. Then press the knob briefly to show and change the current setting. Turn the knob to select the desired setting for the parameter. To confirm selection and go back to the previous menu, press the knob briefly. To cancel any change and just go back, press any of the foot switches. To save any changes and go to normal operation, press and hold the knob until save is shown in the screen. To cancel changes, press and hold any of the foot switches until cancel is shown on the display. Please consult the user manual for a full list of global parameters and options. The PB-M5-L7 can accept an expression pedal to send CC messages continuously. You can enable the expression pedal in the setup menu by pressing switch 1 and 5 at the same time. Turn the knob to select the auxiliary function parameter, as shown on the display. Press the knob briefly, then use the knob to select the expression pedal option. After selecting the expression pedal function, more parameters will be available in the previous menu. Descriptions of these parameters are available in the user manual. To calibrate the expression pedal, turn the knob to the Cal1 parameter. This is the toe-down value of the expression pedal. Press the knob briefly, then move the expression pedal to its toe-down position. Then, press the knob briefly to confirm and go back to the previous menu. Turn the knob counterclockwise to select the Cal2 parameter. Press the knob briefly, then move the expression pedal to its heel down position. At this point, you can press and hold down the knob to save the calibration, or press the knob briefly to continue changing other parameters. Moving the expression pedal will show the current CC value sent out to the MIDI port. Check out the PedalBot Facebook page, and send us a message for more information about the PB-M5-L7 or the other models we offer. Thank you for watching.